Hello, hello, hello. This is the Vanilla JavaScript podcast. I'm Chris Ferdinandi. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm talking about how sometimes you just need JavaScript. Back in June, over at gomakethings.com, I shared a list of HTML and CSS replacements for things that used to require JavaScript. And I absolutely love stuff like that. Anytime the platform releases HTML and CSS alternatives to things that used to require JavaScript, I'm going to rip that JS code out and throw in the HTML and CSS versions instead, if they can be done accessibly. One of the responses I got to that article was a website dedicated to HTML and CSS alternatives to JavaScript components. And while I love that sort of thing in concept, the first three components on the page were not accessible, as in they won't work for people who use screen readers or have certain types of disabilities. The site included a note that, quote, some of these demos may not be accessible and work on all browsers, but it put the onus on developers to test and evaluate that. And I'm sorry, but the typical developer looking for copy-paste tools does not have the ability to do that. We are not there as an industry yet. The point I'm trying to make is that I absolutely love when the platform releases features that replace JavaScript, but not every "you don't need JS for this" hack is better than using JavaScript. Often, JS is an important and necessary component to build something that's complete and accessible. For example, I often see image sliders or carousels built without JavaScript using CSS animations. Some questions. Can someone with cognitive impairments pause the animation to give them more time to take it in? Can someone who suffers from motion sickness disable the animations entirely and still see all of that content? Can a user move forward and backward through the slides on their own, or are they beholden to the built-in predefined animations? Are changes to the slides announced so that a screen reader user knows what's happening on the page? There are a ton of CSS-only hacks that are bare minimum functional and really, really impressive what people have been able to do, but provide a worse and less accessible experience than adding a little bit of JavaScript. JS isn't bad. Using it poorly is. Also bad is not using it all when it would actually be the proper choice. So that's it for today. If you want to finally master JavaScript, head over to vanillajsguides.com and check out my pocket guides and video courses. As a listener of the show, you can take 30% off with the code podcast at checkout. See you next time. Cheers.